Hello, everybody, and welcome back for another episode of Awoken with Aulden. I'm your host, Aulden S. Nance, and we have a very important show and topic for you this evening. We are looking into the recent Minneapolis conflict across the North Star State inside of the city of Minneapolis. Additionally, we are going to be talking about history of illegal immigration from the Trump administration's point of view, and as well as its impact on the economy in the United States of America. So a lot of important stuff to dive into. Glad you're with us this evening. Where's the hat? I am taking a week off the hat, doing the hair this week. Just want to signal something with this. So, do you guys like the hat better? We'll let Bravely Bold type their response. However, we will want to continue. Thank you for tuning in to the stream this evening. If it's your first time on the live stream, please give the video a like and leave a comment. Let me know how you think I'm doing. Let me know how you think of the topics and the how I'm doing things on the show. Been doing a lot of more of these vertical live streams during the week. I tried to meet new people and grow the Awoken. If you are missing the live stream and are listening maybe tomorrow or the next day, nothing typed out there. Bravely Bold. However, if you're looking the next day, we're on Spotify, Rumble, X, Instagram for clips, and Twitch, as well as the YouTube and Facebook channel as well. We're on seven different guys. So a lot of ways to get access to the content. So really wanted to kind of, now that we got the housekeeping out of the way, would like to, actually here, let's do this. There we go. Okay, good. Got the comments on the stage again. And now I'm sure by now, excuse me, dealing with a little cough last couple of days. Sure you've seen by now the videos of these two individuals that have been involved in altercations with law enforcement and have been killed as a result of their actions, particularly the second. The first one isn't really seems to be as controversial with the lady. But the second one is what's gathering a lot more, excuse me, of this attention. And we're looking at, there's this 37-year-old fellow. He intervenes in some kind of tussle or conflict that DHS or Border Patrol, they're trying to apprehend this woman or women or something like that. And he gets in the way and is shoving and getting an arrest. Eventually it hits the ground. And when he's on the ground, it seems to, it's tough to tell the next immediate event that comes out of this. But there's a couple, it's either they remove his firearm from his waistband or his pocket, wherever he was keeping it, and it either goes off by accident, someone says he's got a gun, or another thing, and he's shot 10 times and Pretty is killed. as a result of this. So that seems to have a lot of controversy, what a lot of people are talking about. We saw earlier today the at least 2 of the 5 or 6 agents have been placed on leave by the admin. We also see a leadership change with Tom Homan stepping up and heading to Minneapolis to foresee the execution of this mission for the foreseeable future. So a lot of big stuff happening in Minneapolis. I'm sure everyone has their own views and what's going on and what happened. It just seems to be, to me, an unfortunate, sticky situation that sadly happened, but it did. And it doesn't mean it was justified or not. It's just, we'll talk more about it later. But it seems to be an unfortunate accident, in my view, at least, with that. So we got a nice little PowerPoint cooked up for you. Got some videos even included in this one, trying to take the next steps up. And we're going to be talking all about illegal immigration tonight. So please, if you're just joining, leave the video a like. Join Bravely Bold in the chat. We need the Awoken to grow close together as we build this movement. There we go. I kicked some things off as well. Okay, we're going to get the PowerPoint ready here. Yeah, this guy. Okay, wonderful. Minneapolis on Edge. On the screen there, you have Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey, and you have a generic-looking ICE agent, and then the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, as well as Minnesota in the background. So let's take a step back and go down the golden escalator with the then TV mogul and reality star, Donald J. Trump. First time getting into politics, we all remember it. The moment immigration took over the conversation in not just right-wing politics, but left-wing politics and all the politics in the United States. Used to be more the secondary issue. Now he brought it to the forefront. Building the wall was the core campaign promise of the Trump admin in 2016, and also ran on other strict immigration policies. And everybody more or less kind of followed his lead with this. We're talking about the media had to start reacting to it. Other politicians had to take stances on it, whether it was primary opponents or then former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. The voting bloc, and we see when he won the election, the Reagan Democrats and the northern states, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, that came back for him off of this issue alone for the most part. I'm going to pull up a little video actually for you. Excuse me. Let's do this guy.
To share your proof with the American people.
So if it weren't for me, you wouldn't even be talking about illegal immigration, Chris. You wouldn't even be talking about it. This was not a subject that was on anybody's mind until I brought it up at my announcement, and I said, Mexico is sending. Except the reporters, because they're a very dishonest lot, generally speaking, in the world of politics, they didn't cover my statement the way I said it. The fact is, since then, many killings, murders, crime, drugs pouring across the border, our money going out and the drugs coming in. And I said, we need to build a wall, and it has to be built quickly. And I don't mind having a big, beautiful door in that wall so that people can come into this country legally. But we need, Jeb, to build a wall. We need to keep illegals out.
Right. So just a reminder of how he changed the conversation immediately, how people had not been discussing the issue. And sorry, goodness gracious, how people had not been discussing the issue, even on the right, and how he's able to make this play again, bringing up the wall, bringing up the campaign announcement, really parlaying this move. All right, perfect. We are going to head to the next guy here. Wonderful. Okay. Got a comment from @BradHarrell-R4T. New video released today shows Pretty spitting on DHS vehicle, then kicking out the taillight, provoking a response by DHS. A couple weeks ago, he was not a peaceful protester. That's a good point. I did see, and we're going to watch that video as well later. But yes, something else is that Renee Good and Pretty, those aren't protesters. I'll explain that a little more later. But that's a great point, Brad Harold. Thank you. Why did the border wall matter? Is that it was wanting to restore this national sovereignty, this when you lock your door at night in your house, whether you live in the suburbs or the city, it's not that you hate everybody who isn't in your house. It's you want to protect your people. And without having that physical barrier, it was seen as a security lapse, weakness, especially for a big country like the United States, that we pride ourselves on being sovereign. We have our own elections. We have our own deal over here. And really, it's a litmus test on can we enforce our own laws. Even if you remember, if you supported it or didn't support it, you had to take a side on it. That's what he did with the immigration issue. You had it, whether you were Elizabeth Warren or Hillary Clinton saying we will never build the wall, or the Republicans saying we need to build the wall, you were forced to take a side on it. He brought it to the forefront and attention. That's what he really wanted to nail down here. Okay, next guy. Now the president, he's elected with help of the Reagan Democrats in the 2016 election, kicks Hillary Clinton into political retirement. And now he's trying to implement his policies. @Ronwin Nance, good evening, Ronwin. Thank you for joining the stream tonight. Hope you had a wonderful day. Thank you. I'm sure you remember this conflict in particular. The border, at the time acting ICE director, Homan, sparred out with current then and still currently Congresswoman AOC. The zero tolerance policy and the family separation, that drew a lot of attention, of course. And that's a problem for the admin. The media really hit them hard every single day. Kids in cages, kids in cages. It's the second coming of Adolf Hitler and the Nazis. So they're dragging these kids, throwing them in a cage, and they're throwing food in between the wires to feed them. It's the worst thing since the Holocaust. That was 24/7 every single day from the media and the Democrats as well. And they really pushed that message in particular, and they kind of had a cave after a while. They backed down, and we are going to look at another video of that as well. So that's going to be your second video.
Mr. Holman, your name is on this. Is this correct?
Yes, I signed that memo.
So you are the author of the family separation
I
policy.
am not the author of this memo.
You're not the author, but you signed the memo.
Yes, a zero tolerance memo.
So you provided the official recommendation to Secretary Nielsen on for the United States to pursue family separation.
I gave Secretary Nielsen numerous recommendations on how to secure the border and save lives.
But it says here that you gave her numerous options, but the recommendation was option 3, family separation.
What I'm saying, this is not the only paper where we've given the Secretary numerous options to secure the border and save lives.
And so the recommendation of the many that you recommended family separation,
I recommend a zero tolerance.
which includes family separation.
The same as is with every U.S. citizen parent gets arrested when they're with a child.
Zero tolerance was interpreted as the policy that separated children from their
If I get arrested for DUI and I have a young child in the car, I'm going to be separated. When I was a police officer in New York and I arrested a father for domestic violence, I separated that father
Mr.
from his
Holman, with
family.
all due respect, legal asylees are not charged with any crime.
When you're in the country illegally, it's violation 8 United States Code 1325.
Seeking asylum is legal.
If you want to seek asylum and go through the port of entry, do it the legal way. The Attorney General of the United States has made that clear.
Okay. Mr. Chair, the
See, another example of this conflict that brewed right after the first Trump victory in 2016, heading into the midterms. Again, we're in that same year. Now we're in year 2 of the second term. About 9 months now from the midterms come November, and we already see with the Minneapolis stuff. It's the coverage every day. They're killing citizens. They're separating that 5-year-old from the parents, even though the father ran away and left the kid in the freezing cold, and mom wouldn't open the door. So you see, it's the same playbook that the media is using. And the and the Trump admin, they had to anticipate this. They had to know it was coming because it happened last time. You're going to lose people. The media, they're going to make it all emotional and get some people to freak out about it. You're going to lose the grandma that voted for you because you were particularly you were pro-life. You're going to lose some people like that. That's just the reality of it. And again, just wanting to show that this is, oh my goodness, at ZC, the beautiful dude, great lips, incredible profile, awesome voice. I appreciate the compliment. Thank you. You have these high profile confrontations continue, and they're still continuing today. The optics of it almost matter more than results, how the issue is framed. Let's do a little bit. We hear about sanctuary cities all the time, right? Generally, you might have a perspective on them if they're good or bad. And I just kind of want to lay out the facts of what they are, right? I'm not going to be unfair with the analysis here. I'm just going to flat out say what they are. And here's an example. Let's say an illegal alien is arrested in Chicago for whatever, stealing or any other crime. They're arrested. And ICE calls the local jail, the Cook County jail or whatever, says, hey, we see you have this patient, or not patient, this prisoner. We're inquiring about their immigration status. Under the sanctuary policies, they can deny information about the immigration status, or if the ICE has high suspicion that they are illegal, they can let them go before ICE gets there to collect and properly arrest the illegal immigrant. So it's almost a shield, and they shield illegals at times. They and again, these cities will provide city IDs, medical care. Illegal aliens use the emergency room as the waiting room, like in a doctor's office, because they have to get, the Obamacare thing, everyone has to get treated. So that tab starts to run up high. And again, it's just a lot of these big cities have this policy. So that's a brief overview of what sanctuary cities are. They will often not cooperate with ICE and make things harder. And that leaves ICE a couple choices. They can either let the person go, or they have to arrest them or confront them within the community, which puts a lot more people at risk. Here's a couple of examples. LA, Chicago, Minneapolis, New York, San Francisco, all those guys. They, again, like I was saying earlier, they can decline coverage and opportunity with ICE, and it keeps enforcement uneven. And really, it's a lapse of communication. It causes a lot of problems at times. And we've seen in Minneapolis and Chicago last couple weeks, these protesters, which they're really far left wing agitators, that's not a protest. As Brad mentioned earlier, it's not a peaceful protest. It's these highly organized groups committing vandalism against hotels where ICE is suspected of staying, or where they're sleeping, or where they're eating. The restaurants where they're eating. And local law enforcement from the governors have been told not to help them. We saw there was the two ICE agents in the restaurant last week. They had to board up the restaurant or they were going to get killed. They couldn't leave, and no one would come and help them. Local law enforcement was instructed to not help, to not intervene. Over 1,000 tickets canceled for World Cup because soccer fans are too scared to visit. ICE plans to be present at World Cup and Olympics. Now we're going to jump in the timeline a little bit. Let's head to the Biden era. Joe Biden swoops in as president after the 2020 election. It's his turn to get a crack at it. Well, we all know what happened with that. Right after COVID, the border wide open, almost like I don't even want to say it, but just completely wide open. There's no restriction. There's very little enforcement at all. Around 10 million illegal immigrants enter the country within those 4 years, about 2.5 each year. Excuse me, 2.5 million. The the Republicans pounce on this issue. Trump does in 24, but we just kind of have to eat it for the 4 years under Biden. Rather than trying to fix the system or care about it, the administration completely ignored it at all times. We saw the Secretary of DHS, Mayorkas, was impeached over it in the Republican-controlled House in early to mid 2024, I believe it was. That's when I was still in the Senate. I actually went to go watch in the Senate the gallery. I wanted to go check things out. That was really interesting and historic, because I believe he was the first cabinet member impeached in a long time. We got at Jeff Anger 017. Why do I only see you losers constantly whine about immigration and kicking illegals out, but never ever talking about a solution to make it easier to become legal? Stay till the end of the presentation. I have an idea that nobody has ever proposed before, actually. So that's my quick pitch to you, Jeff. Where does illegal immigration come from? We know a lot of it comes through the southern border. However, we know there's visa overstays, northern border, boats on the coast. There's other ways to do it. And under the Biden regime, we saw the CBP One border app, where all it took was to schedule an asylum appointment, and then they just let you into the country, and then you never come back, obviously, for it. So it was a fast, like a Disney World, a fast pass again to the country under asylum, which maybe sometimes there was a legit claim, but you didn't have to have a legit claim. All you had to do was say it. And again, this overwhelmed the system to where it was just sweet, right in. You're actually, and we're going to show you here. Let's go to the next video. Let's just look at the Rio Grande under the Biden regime with this app and policies.
The Texas-Mexico border, a crowd of migrants estimated to be as many as 10,000. More than a third of the population of Del Rio, Texas, is gathered under the international bridge leading into that city, with more expected to travel there through the weekend. NBC's Jay Gray reports.
The images, like the situation in South Texas, overwhelming.
This is unprecedented. This is beyond surreal. This is affecting everybody in this community.
At last count, more than 12,000 migrants, most from Haiti, gathering under the international bridge between Del Rio and Ciudad Acuña, Mexico.
The Border Patrol and the DPS are doing their work, but they need more help.
Officials now scrambling to bring in reinforcements from across the country, with the crowd here expected to grow significantly through the weekend. The crisis comes with illegal border crossings already at a 20-year high. Republicans blaming the White House.
This is lawless, and it is inviting suffering. This needs to end.
Homeland Security teams are rapidly expelling almost all single adults and some families under emergency authority enacted due to the COVID pandemic.
In this case, we have the authority to expel individuals under the laws that the Centers for Disease Control have.
But right now, the Mexican government is refusing to allow Haitians back into their country.
This situation in the border is an emergency. It doesn't matter what political party you are from.
With the crowd under this bridge and tensions growing. Jay Gray, NBC News.
Switch to TurboTax.
Pause. Tremendous. So again, that's just a quick, we're talking about hundreds of thousands in a very short amount of time entering the country. No stable society or any society can keep up with that. It's too many people too quickly. Sorry. Let's go back to this app, though, however. All right, good. We are back. So the app, just schedule the appointment. You're right on in. It's like that very, I'm sure you've seen the meme of the, looks like an amusement park or a sporting event, and there's a big heavy guy that trying to feel for objects in your pants or shirt, and he just kind of lets you, doesn't even touch you, just is moving, going through the motions. That's what the border was during the Biden regime. How many are there? We've discussed could be 25 to 40 million illegal aliens reside in the United States as we speak. A very, talking, the state of Indiana, I believe, is 6.5 million people live in the state. So we're talking about, if it's the low end 25 million, that's 3 Indianas of people who don't have the moral or legal authority to be in the country right now. That's just at the low end. But yeah, it's tough to tell exactly, but even the credible estimates is much higher than ever has been before. And it grew incredibly quick during the Biden era. Now let's go into how it impacts everybody. We've seen the value of the dollar recently. Since 2020, the value of the dollar has lost, I believe, 25% of its purchasing power in the past 4 or 5 years. And that's made the prices of homes very expensive, car payments, credit card debt. Just the dollar, it's not going as far as it used to anymore, and it's not holding. And these big companies, and it's not all, something else I do want to get through the presentation tonight in my monologue is it's not only the fact that there are the illegals here, it is on the companies that are hiring them that produce fake documentation for them to be to work for the company, and that underpaid these people. But soon with AI, if it is just all these low skill entry jobs, then AI will replace them anyway. So that argument might start to get undercut here in the next 5 or however many years. So you have this larger labor supply, and it puts downward pressure on the wages. And we've heard there's a speech from Barack Obama saying that you shouldn't, if you have to work, you have to give fine, or you have to go to the back of the, same with Hillary Clinton. These only 10 or 20 years ago, they sounded like moderate Republicans when it came to illegal immigration. Now, with the Trump card entered into it, they have to take a step back and refine their stance on the issue. That's what I was talking about earlier. And we, the citizens and the legal immigrants, are the ones that have to pay for it. Whether it's they're using the emergency room for the waiting room at the doctor's office, or they're receiving other benefits, that should be going to us. Whether it's intentional or not, there is a replacement factor going on here. If you have people who are not born in the country rapidly coming into the country all at once, it does make life a little harder for the native and the citizen population. Large-scale immigration expands the labor force much quicker than the wages can react and adjust to it. Again, there's like what I was talking about on the last slide, the healthcare factor into it. I had to go to the ER a couple years ago, and I had to wait like 8 or 9 or 10 hours to see somebody. It was ridiculous. And who was I waiting with in there? Younger and the lower wage Americans they're the ones that are getting the short end of the stick when it comes to this. It's harder for housing. If you have, let's just go with the 10 million under the last 4 years, or the 5 years under Biden. You have a population, and then the denominator increases by 10 million people. Not all those illegals are sleeping under the highway or whatever. They're living in homes. They're utilizing utilities, other services, sometimes getting housing assistance. So they have to live somewhere. Now let's go into the national. We haven't even talked about this. We've only talked about, at the end of the day, yeah, we all wish we could have more money or a bigger house or something like that. But that's just tangible, physical touch objects. There is a safety concern with crime with illegal immigrants, violent crime. It makes it, when you have so many entering at once, it's tough to vet all these people and know if they're safe or not. And it's tougher to enforce going undetected at a lot of times. And some of these individuals, like you hear AOC and the video earlier talking about family separation. Well, what about Lincoln Riley's family? That family's now permanently separated forever because she was brutally killed by an illegal immigrant. Same with the numerous other victims of crimes by illegal immigrants. That family is separated permanently and there's never a chance that can be reunified. And it was their birthright and their right as citizens to have a great life in America. Now it's cut short because of someone who had no moral right or legal right to be in the country caused that to them. Now that I've done some explaining, let's go back to the timeline and discuss the president comes out of political exile, or the then former president. The Democrats look pretty weak. Joe Biden, he's in rough shape, right? The then Vice President Harris isn't really seen as particularly strong. And she's way too heavily tied to Biden to really break free. So their goose was cooked anyway. So the president comes back, wins back those Reagan Democrats off immigration, flips Nevada even to expand to the Electoral College victory. And after 4 years of seeing videos like at the Rio Grande that I showed you a couple of minutes ago, they've had enough. The population has had enough. The president wins the popular vote for the first time in 3 tries as well. Wins historic numbers of Hispanics and Latinos and Black voters and young voters. A very broad coalition, actually, for a GOP candidate. It was seen as, the public viewed it as, the Dems were just incredibly incompetent with the issue, that they didn't even care that the country was being flooded. And the president ran on the calling card to, hey, I'm going to get this under control. Let's try that. And remember, I'm sure you remember this, is a couple, probably 6 months before the election, there was talks of this bipartisan border security bill or something of that nature. And they're saying, okay, after 4 years, I'm going to start taking the border seriously, and I want Congress to do this. We're going to close the border if this bill gets signed. And everyone was like, well, Trump is sabotaging it by telling GOP senators and the Republican Senate to not take it up or to vote for it. And the president closed the border without any legislation just because of its rhetoric and its strength of leadership. Biden was a weak leader, as we all know. And the president was able to close the border just through him being there. He didn't even, all of this stuff for the immigration right now is executive order or rhetoric. That's it. So it didn't take any bipartisan border bill. It just took having a new POTUS in there that people would know would take it seriously. And again, the illegals knew that border was closed now. It's not worth the risk to try and cross anymore. So they stopped even trying. As we know, one of the better things that so far the president has done is secure the border this term. But they will need to get new legislation through, because if Gavin Newsom wins in 28, or the former Vice President Harris wins again, we just know the border is going to be wide back open, and all of this isn't ultimately going to matter at all. So they need to finish the wall and get some of this stuff and pen it in legislation to where the enforcement is in law. Let's get back on the timeline. Let's go just to a couple months ago. And we're talking about federal, probably last May, late May to June, is in Los Angeles. Trump admin coming in, start doing some raids in Los Angeles. And I'm sure you saw the setting cars on fire, waving Mexican flags. Anything like that was done, and throwing objects at ICE agents and other federal law enforcement, being disruptive. Now let's go to Chicago around Halloween in 2025. Throwing bricks, boxing in ICE cars, using their vehicles as a weapon to surround ICE. And again, the local law enforcement is told not to help once again. And these activist networks just view it as more authoritarian than enforcement or administrative. And the state and federal leadership clashes. Let's go in, now we're at present day pretty much. And why are they even here? If you watch my Somali versus Somaliland episode, that was probably around 2 months ago. I filmed that episode. And it was about the Somali daycare fraud. Around, I think, $8 billion has been defrauded from the Minnesota taxpayers into these Somali communities. One of the biggest welfare scandals in the state of Minnesota's history. And for the last decade in the United States, one of the biggest scandals. So that's why they're there, is to try and get a hold of some of this Somali traffic. But as I mentioned, Minneapolis is a sanctuary city. So the local law enforcement will not intervene. And we've seen this. And now back to Brad's point. In the comments a little bit ago, Brad made the point about these people not being peaceful protesters. A protest is, if you caught my live stream on Friday or Saturday last week, whether it was the March for Life or the anti-Iranian regime protest, That's a protest. You get your flag, you get your poster board, even your microphone, your megaphone. You make a high school cheerleader chant, and you perform your chant. You wave your flag. You move your poster. You go in front of the Iranian embassy, or for the March for Life, it ended at the Supreme Court. You go in front of a building that maybe signals importance to it or to your cause, and you do it there. And you can promote it online, encourage other people to join you. You have your permit, everything's safe. There's no problems going on. What is happening in Minneapolis right now, I cannot stress enough, is not a protest. Throwing bricks, kicking the cars, destroying property. Like Renee Good, driving in the middle of the street, that's not protesting. That's interfering with federal law enforcement. That is a crime. And these people feel entitled enough and emboldened enough to do that without fear of consequence. Why? It's not just they woke up one day and did this. There's these big signal chats of thousands of these left-wing agitators organizing, collecting license plate numbers, vehicle descriptions, and models, and companies, where they're staying at for the hotel, and where they're going to go eat, pictures of the agents, ambushing them when they're off duty even. This is not a protest. It's a organized insurgency to impede federal law enforcement. It's not a protest. And now a couple of people have been killed because of it. And think about it. I already kind of discussed each case with Renee Good. You're using your vehicle as a weapon. And unfortunately for her, the person or the agent that she hit had been dragged 300 feet earlier, or like the year prior. So he wasn't about to play that twice. He knows what happens. So she's now dead. Let's go into Pretty. Like I mentioned, and we'll look at the video Brad mentioned, but the fact that he had a gun is not justification for his death at all. That's legally, that's fine. I saw that White House say that him having a gun was a thing. The thing that he did was illegal was by interfering in the scuffle. That's not a real comment. But again, the thing he did that was illegal was injecting himself into that confrontation. Nobody asked him to do that. That's his problem. If you're driving down the highway and someone's pulled over and you get out and you try and interfere with that traffic stop, there's going to be problems. This is no different than that. So here's the insurgency feels emboldened. They're going to keep trying. Let's go to let's go to let's see what the next, get one sec. Yeah, so here, let's go to the next video, actually.
side of the building. The state says federal agents then deployed chemical irritants to clear out that group that was there.
I'm going to go back. I was watching on my screen and didn't realize it wasn't on this.
Law enforcement outside of a hotel believed to house ICE agents.
Chinu Her is in our live center with what we have learned at this point. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Tom and Kelly. We know the Minnesota Department of Public Safety says the State Patrol, DNR, and Minneapolis police were called to the Home 2 Suites Hotel that's on University Avenue in Dinkytown last night. Officials say a small group of protesters had broken a few windows and graffitied anti-ICE messages on the side of the building. The state says federal agents then deployed chemical irritants to clear out that group that was there. This hotel is one of many that's been targeted over the last few weeks by protesters, believing it to be where ICE agents are staying during Operation Metro Surge. Now, when our cameras got out there, we did spot a few broken windows, which have now been boarded up. It is important to note that the overwhelming majority of protests and demonstrations that we've seen across the Twin Cities in the last few weeks have been peaceful. So we'll continue to just follow some of these demonstrations throughout the area as we see more and more of them pop up around us, guys.
Right.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, let's get this guy out of here and put the slides back on. Okay, got a couple comments at Chucky P67. Excellent points, Mr. Nance. Always a great analysis. Thank you very much. You were at ZCV. You were out in the cold. Need to make some lemon ginger tea with honey. Get some rest and recharge after a live show. Absolutely. I need a. The weather is pretty cold here. Been outside a little bit the last couple of days. And then at Chucky P67, 2 American flag emojis. Thank you very much for the patriotism. We're going to keep this show going. So as I just mentioned there, independent reporting from independent journalist Cam Higbee indicates that these encrypted signal chats are being used by activists to set up databases for license plates, description of ICE, what ICE agents are looking like, facial features, vehicle makeup, license plates, lodging locations, and eating establishments. And that's why they have these whistles and bells and other noisemakers. Is the second that one of these, either ICE or the vehicle is spotted, is to alert everybody to, all right, now we're going over here. We got to go to 6 and Alden Avenue to box in this ICE car, and we're going to have somebody drive on the northbound lane and park perpendicular or whatever and block the exit. So that way we force them to get out, and now we can throw objects at them or make it that much harder to arrest some of these people that they're trying to arrest. And that's the deal there. It's not a protest. If you've ever been out protesting before, I doubt it was this level of planning for it. There was probably one message from the leader that said, be at the park at, right, that's a great comment at Chucky P67, the Mike Walt Signal Gate. That's why I'm going at Signal, because it should be Signal Gate again. But the points I was making about, hey, let's meet at the park at 9 a.m., bring your poster, bring some water, we'll have snacks, and we're going to be done at 1 o'clock. Bring your noisemaker, we'll get lunch after. Hello at Beth B4J8Z. So a lot of, you kind of see what I'm starting to get at, right? And we'll look into Mr. Higbee's reporting after Pretty's death. We saw that Bovino was kind of tossed, more or less. He was the border patrol fellow. and big boy Tom Homan's coming into town. And the reassignment came amid all this intense political pressure and scrutiny from the media. So the admin kind of had to pivot. And the thing is, they can't give up, though. So we're going to see the admin knows there are some optics lacking here. They need to do something to go along with that, to try and change things up, because the Republicans can win the dialogue on immigration as long as the topics are not about deaths of citizens or stuff like that, and it needs to be about deporting illegal aliens that like separate families instead. The president has on the phone a couple of Truth Socials last couple of days, on the phone with the governor and the mayor of Minneapolis with constructive phone calls. We saw last night, I believe, local law enforcement is now helping ICE. They helped clear a hotel or something like that yesterday. Today's the 28th. And so they're trying to, again, it's another shift of the optics to go along with this. And let's go to the, thank you at Will Haynes TV 4944. Some of the rhetoric with this, right? There's all of this media scrutiny on the admin, and what has actually happened with it. Let's be honest. Right now, we're looking at 300 to 600,000 deportations. You'd think it would be a lot more than that, with how much the media is covering this and with how evil they're trying to make it out to be. But really, in the grand scheme of things, it's not even making that much of a dent in the number that arrived under Joe Biden. So they're going to have to think of some strategy they don't have to like scrap the mass deportations, but maybe for the time being, try to make some changes with that. Because if you're not actually able to have productive results, then it's going to be harder to justify as well, and it's only going to increase more media scrutiny and pressure. Let's go to the reality on the ground. Is that we're told that all of this cheap labor and stuff like that. Yeah, good point, Will Haynes TV. So yeah, we're told that these high number of illegals and is going to make life easier for everybody. They're going to do the bad, all the bad stinky jobs that no one wants to do. And home prices are higher than ever. Rent continues to skyrocket. Groceries. So all of this, the illegal immigrants in the farm working has not materialized into saved costs for the consumer. It just hasn't. And the claim, it just has not materialized at all. And housing is, young people it's just really seeming increasingly difficult at the moment. Now, why the admin and the president has consistently tried to say why mass deportations matter, and it's that are we even a sovereign nation if we can't have our own border or strong, secure border? And what's that mean for illegal immigrants? That's not very, very fair. I have buddies on the swim team in college that are trying to do it the right way. And I'm sure they're spending a lot of time and money and resources in order to do it properly. And yeah, people shouldn't just be able to cheat. Sorry. And then what's that mean for the future? If there's no way to stop, if there's no fear of, hey, if I enter the country illegally, nothing's going to happen, then everybody's just, that's what happened under Biden. There was no risk or perceived threat of deportation, so they just kept on going. And yeah, it just has to, and back to the, if the admin quits mass deportations because of these, the insurgency by the left, then who's really in control of the country, honestly? The president was elected. He has powers by winning the presidency. He was elected on this mass deportations policy. Excuse me. Goodness. He was elected by this, and the voters approved of it. That's democracy. Why should these agitators have this unique veto power to stop this? That's what the voters wanted, and it needs to be executed. Young people in particular, wages right now are, as I mentioned earlier, they're not keeping up at all. The demand rises faster than supply for the young people. As I mentioned, everyone has to live somewhere. And if you have all these people coming in with no vetting or safety guards or guardrails, then it's just going to increase the denominator of number of houses. And if it gets harder to get a home, then it gets harder to get married, and that makes it harder to get kids. So it's a national security threat in the sense that if the native population cannot reproduce and have successful lives, then, working a job isn't the only fun thing about life. People want to achieve these things, and it's feeling very difficult right now for them. So here's something that the Trump admin could implement right now, actually. And it's an idea that I thought of the other day when I was preparing for this. For every 10,000 illegal immigrants deported, one legal immigrant can come in, right? Kind of like in dodgeball in gym class. When your teammate catches the ball, someone on your bench gets a rush back in. Well, in this case, it's going to be every 10,000 illegal immigrants for one legal entry. Because right now, the claims that all of this labor would help make stuff cheaper is not materializing. We've already exposed that. And we should not have to compete with these people. Sorry. It's America first. American citizens need to come first. And a result-based benchmark will restore credibility, and other legal immigrants would support it. Say, hey, it would get citizens and legal immigrants on board, as well as it wouldn't even take legislation. They could do this tomorrow. They could make an infographic and make this the new policy, right? You don't have to make this law. So that's my personal suggestion for how to deal with this at the moment. Doesn't have to be like this forever, but at least for the rest of the term, make it that way. Okay, so now we are going to, let's go back, we're going to go Twitter. And let's check out our friend Cam Higbee. actually get rid of that one. It's my fault. Wonderful. Okay, so we got Cam Higbee. And here's the signal gate. Here's all of the individuals that are in this chat. Like, it's a 30-second video. Yeah, and here's the video Brad mentioned earlier.
13th in Minneapolis, showing a man who appears to be Alex Preddy interacting with federal immigration agents 11 days before Border Patrol shot and killed him. Our footage was analyzed by the BBC, whose facial recognition technology confirmed his identity to a 97% degree of accuracy. On the morning of January 13th, our team received a tip that federal agents were blocking a street at the corner of East 36 and Park Avenue in Minneapolis. We arrived around 10:15 a.m. We saw observers shouting at the agents as they walked back to their vehicles. When they started driving away, the man kicked their taillight. An agent then got out of the vehicle, grabbed him, and pushed him to the ground. During the altercation, agents fired tear gas and pepper balls into the crowd. They continued to hold the man down before they retreat, and he walks away. The man in our footage is wearing a similar outfit to what Preddy was wearing on the day he was killed.
Like a rabid
What
animal.
appears to be a gun is also visible above his waistband.
I think that's pretty well the deal there. It's just going to keep going. But yeah, so we're looking at examples like that. We've seen a lot of the response from, you have 10 Walls come out the other day and say, comparing it to Anne Frank and the Holocaust. So you see what the elected officials are trying to stoke with this is that this is so bad that you need to hide in your attic for over a year, and they're going to come take you and send you to a death camp. That's what they're trying to make ICE out to be. And why? It's just to rattle people up and scare them. That video we just saw, that's not a protest. The kicking in property is not. And I guess I'll respond to Jeff. That was more of an example of a protest. Not all of them will go all day. And it depends on the size. The one I was referencing was after George Floyd, the death of George Floyd in my home community. I didn't attend it, but there was a semi-small demonstration for him. So it's not every single, it's not a one-size-fits-all thing. Excuse me. So, and we got at RDD42, 10K to 1. I feel like the ICE quota is already the problem. Makes them have to harass everyone in public. Yeah, like it's not the easiest thing, but that's just what sanctuary cities as well. Excuse me. And let's keep looking at our friend Cam. Just to give you a couple more examples of this. of these crazy signal chats. Let's see. Yeah, and the FBI has launched an investigation into it. Oh, great. So here, let's get out Twitter. Let's just put it back to me. Awesome. So that's my excuse me. That's my that's my presentation for the evening. If anyone has any questions, would love to take them. Thank you for tuning in tonight. And so that's just something for you to chew on over the next couple of days as we head towards the next steps from the Trump admin to the future of the immigration debate in the country. I do appreciate the pushback and the claims maybe against me or my ideas as well. Unsure what we're going to be talking about next week. We'll keep you in the loop for that. We believe there's a primary election in New Jersey coming up soon for Mikey Sherrill's seat, or old House seat when she got elected governor of New Jersey. I believe that Democratic primary is coming up soon, so we'll probably live stream that if it seems to be a competitive race. But I don't believe most of the primaries don't start till closer to middle of March and early April, I believe. So we're still a little bit out for primary season. They'll head through the summer at a steady stream as well. But yeah, we'll try. I've been wanting to discuss Taiwan a little bit recently because I know that there's a lot of conflict, maybe not physical conflict yet, but more speculation than anything about the Chinese Communist Party trying to reclaim that island. They released a white paper with their intentions of having the land by 2027 again, or at least being prepared to seize it back by then. So might do Taiwan next week. We'll see. We'll keep you in the loop for it though. But yeah, we're up to I believe 248 subscribers on YouTube now, the last I checked. So we're growing at a pretty solid pace. Again, if you have Twitter, we're on Twitter as well, Instagram, Rumble, Spotify, Twitch, and Facebook. We're on 7 platforms total. I upload everything either the night of or the next morning at the latest of all my Wednesday shows. I'm going to put some of the vertical streams as well on up there as well, starting shortly. But I'd say I'll kind of do a couple more minutes of a monologue for the entire Minnesota thing, is that we're at and seems like an inflection point that both sides, even if you look last night, I was on Rumble just kind of scrolling around and the protesters are taking a victory lap because the DHS, the Border Patrol guy, was tossed from operating in the city, and they see it as a victory. So it's a constant pressure from them. That's what they have to remember, the Trump admin and these ICE agents. And but again, why they're there in the first place is this major fraud of the Somali daycares uncovered by Nick Shirley. Around $8 billion worth of fraud. That's an insane amount of money from the taxpayers. It's caused Tim Walz to not seek re-election anymore. Caused him to end his campaign. So we're talking about a huge political wins in the North Star state. I've heard Amy Klobuchar is thinking about running for governor. Actually, they're not going to run her for Senate anymore and run her for gov instead. And I think the Republicans right now are going with Mike Lindell, the My Pillow individual, as their candidate, but maybe a couple others will run in the primary. But right now I know Lindell is the guy. What else? So yeah, if these agitators, quote, win, that's not good for any future president. Let's just think about it. If the policies of the elected administration cannot happen because of illegal actions by people, then any future president could run into this risk. Next time a Democrat wins, you could see right-wing individuals try and illegally disrupt something, whether it's, I don't know, free healthcare or other socialist policies or something like that. They could try and go against it because, excuse me for that. So there's a long-term risk. Illegals at Nicholas Alexander 940 comments illegals. Absolutely. Yeah. So if these illegals cannot be deported, what's that say about the justice system in the country? Honestly. So it seems to be an inflection point. It just can't back down. It can change tactics, change motives, sure. At ZCV says, thanks for all your awesome energy and awareness. Such a beautiful dude. Get some rest. A shower with hot tea before bed. Thank you for the compliment. I appreciate that. That's very kind of you to say that about me. But I think with that, unless if someone else has any questions or comments, I think I'm going to wrap it up here for the night. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. This was the largest audience throughout the night I've had so far. We're going to keep building, guys. The Awoken, we're going to grow stronger week by week, day by day, and brick by brick. This is something that I'm glad you're a part of early because whether it's months or years from now, this is going to be something that everyone will know about. Righty, so in the next couple of days, you'll hear me maybe throw out some topics. Some people this morning on the vertical stream were talking about doing a Twitter space after. Once we get more people, we can start doing Twitter spaces after the Wednesday show. Absolutely. At Nicholas Alexander 940, great show. At Ron Winant tonight. All right, everybody. You have been awoken with Aulden. All right, much love, everybody. Good night. We'll see you soon, okay?